make this rather snappy, won't you? I have some very heavy thinking to do before 10 o'clock.
Good evening. Welcome into Greeny Sports Cards Live. That means it is Tuesday night, 7 p.m. on the East Coast. And we have a jam-packed show again for you this week. And we will tell you all about it in the rundown coming up after this. Because first, I want to give you a real treat, a look back on the Broadview Heights show this past weekend, and featuring a very new song courtesy of the Land Media Group. Really cool stuff. Take a look, and we'll see you on the other side.
Greeny Sports Cards, yeah, we live that trade. Buy, sell, flip deals every day, from the court to the field to the old school stars. We're stacking dreams at Greeny Sports Cards. Greeny Sports Cards. Chrome in the glass, ink on the patch, 101 heat, every pack's a match. Talking stats, telling stories about the ones we pulled. Every little cardboard square feels like pure gold. Greeny Sports Card, yeah, we live that trade. Buy, sell, flip deals every day, from the court to the field to the old school stars. We're stacking dreams at Greeny Sports Cards.
We're stacking dreams at Greeny Sports Cards. Pretty cool stuff. And a little bit more on the Broadview Heights show coming up when we bring Greeny on here. But first, let's get to the rundown of what you can expect tonight on the show. Another jam-packed evening, as I said, here on Greeny Sports Cards, the world's first multi-stream hobby broadcast. This is episode 106, as we are going on over 2 years now of bringing you week over week athletes, influencers, hobby patrons, and all kinds of content, including tonight. We will have our hobby news segment with our resident insider, Joe Wismierski from Phoenix Sports Cards. We will talk with Courtney Reckline of Reckless Cards about her experience in the hobby, which is really cool, community building experience that she has going on. And we'll learn more about that in Card Show Live. We will also talk with Chief Maction Officer of the MAC Mid-American Conference. Jeremy Guy will join us to talk about some of his hobby wares and memorabilia. We'll also get into the MAC tournament coming up this week, as just about all the eyes will be on Cleveland, where Miami University will take on all comers with their undefeated record. So lots of curious eyes and ears on Cleveland this week to see if they can continue their streak. And programming note, no auction tonight. Alex continues on with his paternity leave as he welcomed a new member into his family recently. So we will let you know when those auctions continue. Meantime, we will welcome in the man himself as we have a busy evening tonight. Let's welcome Steve Greenberg, a.k.a. Greeny.
Jeremy, good evening. Happy Tuesday. Happy March Madness or Greeny Madness with all of our shows going on.
Stacking dreams, Greeny. show upon show. And we're not going to spend a lot of time on this tonight because anybody who's interested can go back on your social media channels and get a recap of the show and see some of the content. But give us a quick take on Broadview Heights this weekend. It was pretty phenomenal for a lot of reasons.
Yeah. So much so that Adam and I had to run traffic in the parking lot. Lot of people came to the show this week, so it was terrific. It was I mean, it is the pictures. It was unbelievable. People came. They stacked dreams, as we heard, but so much happened. So much buying, selling, trading. People making memories. The Cleveland Crunch were there. Amber was running point with some of the new interns that we have, and creating all sorts of content that we're going to see coming up, for pretty much the rest of the year. So that was the beginning of what's going to be coming, and we can't wait to show you and tell you a little bit more in the next coming weeks about what we have going on.
Yeah, lots of big announcements. Some of them having to do with the co-located Strongsville Sports Collectors Conventions and Great Lakes Collectors Convention. Make sure you want to get in and get your discounted tickets now for that event, April 10 through 12 at the Independence Fieldhouse, essentially Cleveland, Ohio. So that's going to be an enormous show. And speaking of shows, Greeny, a little bit later on, we'll go around the country for Card Show Live. You've got stops in Tupelo, Mississippi, Shipshewana, of course, Murray Card Show, Alabama, and South Bend. And we will be talking with Courtney from Reckless Cards as well on that. So, Greeny, as you well know, Giannino's Pizzeria has been serving up your hometown pizza favorites for over 36 years. The original restaurant is a small, lively hangout for family members and locals alike. Began with one shop in Talmadge, Ohio, and their franchise now has over 60 locations across Ohio. So if you are anywhere near the Ohio area, make sure you check out Giannino's, and we thank them for their...
Hey, you! Yeah, you! I'm a year older now, so Mommy can give me Giannino's pizza. Hey, whoever thought of making a great tasting Giannino's pizza with all these fresh ingredients? They gotta be some kind of genius. More, Mommy!
Every Giannino's pizza is made with fresh dough, delicious tomato sauce without additives or preservatives, and fresh provolone cheese shredded daily. For a location near you, go to Gianninos.com.
You want a piece of me?
And Jeremy, any day that ends in a Y, I have their salad dressing.
by the cupful, the gallonful.
By the spoonful, but either way, it goes on my salad every night.
Very good. Green, we're going to get to hobby news here very shortly with Joe. I want to jump into quick hits, about quick 60 seconds, give everybody an overview of what's going on with the hobby, and then we'll get into it with our resident hobby insider, Joe Wismirski. So here are your quick hits for the week of March 3rd. Topps new alter ego inserts are going viral. Collect reports that the comic book style MLB superhero cards are becoming the next big chase, with early singles exploding on social media. eBay is integrating card ladder data directly into its price guide. It's a major move towards real-time verified pricing, giving collectors more accurate comps inside the platform. And this past Friday was Pokemon's 30th anniversary, and it's getting hobby recognition. Collectibles on SI marked the milestone with a feature on Arena Club's first edition slab pack, part of a wave of commemorative content celebrating the franchise's 3-decade impact on collecting. As we'll hear from Joe as well, March's release calendar is loaded. Heritage Baseball and Upper Deck Series 2 lead the month. March 18th for Topps Heritage, and March 4th, coming up tomorrow, actually, Upper Deck Series 2 Hockey are the month's biggest chases. And Go GTS calls this week, quote, one of the most eclectic release weeks of the year. In addition to those two products, you've got news, sports, entertainment, and TCG products all dropping at once, including Magic the Gathering Times Tournament. It launches this Friday on March 6th, and demand is spiking with Shredder and Krang as the chase cards driving ahead of its release. Upper Deck announced a $100,000 plus TCG championship at Gen Con. That is set for July 30th through August 2nd. It's one of the biggest competitive TCG payouts of the year. In other news, in vintage news, Tom Seaver's 1969 World Series ring sells for $854,122 in auction. part of Heritage Winter Platinum Night auction, contributing a $38.6 million event total, a major moment for vintage memorabilia. Part and parcel to that, a rare signed 1933 Gaudy Babe Ruth could top 1 million at auction. It was found in a 1930 scrapbook. It's PSA graded, and it's one of the cleanest known examples out there. It is drawing massive pre-auction buzz. So, speaking of vintage, Cracker Jack legends are spotlighted as part of undervalued vintage, which Collectibles on SI is highlighting. Ty Cobb, Wagner, and Shoeless Joe Jackson Cracker Jack cards are some of the hobby's most undervalued early 20th century pieces, cheaper than the comparable T206 icons. And wrapping up our vintage news, Eddie Murray, Hall of Famer, turned 70, and his vintage demand is spiking, noting renewed interest in his early career cards and steady long-term collector appeal. So that's your quick hits for the week. More coming up right now with our hobby insider, Joe Wismierski.
Joe, happy 90
What's
degrees.
happening, guys? Well, thank you. We all-time high this past weekend. We were at 92. 92, end of February, no big deal. Just like the hobby continues to heat up. I mean,
Hot.
show after show after show. One of the things that you guys, I know you might be getting to in Card Show Live, but the Philly show, that's another one that's going to be absolutely huge this upcoming weekend too. So,
Yeah, and then next week, all eyes will be on Phoenix and in Chicago at the same time. I mean, there's just huge show after huge show. And listen, even the small shows are gaining, tons of people. So it's not just the big shows.
yeah,
The
well,
shops
it's nice.
too.
And we now know if there is a traffic issue that we have a traffic czar that we can just fly out, a guy who knows how to use the cones, right? You're using the direction.
Well, quite frankly, I used my cane.
Good.
I did.
Good.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Either way, I
Hey,
pointed.
Joe, I'm going to throw this question out and leave you to it. Speaking of card shows, that's our question of the day, which we encourage viewers to chime in their social media platforms. What is your favorite card acquired specifically at a card show? So if you've been to a card show and acquired something for your PC, let us know in the comment section. And Greeny and Joe, feel free to chime in on this as well.
Yeah, mine was I believe it's a 56 Jug Gerard. He is a Detroit Lions player, and it was PSA 6, I believe. So I try to pick up a vintage, older Detroit sports card at any show that I attend.
Last year at the National, when I bought a Michael Jordan autograph, and then turned around and graded it and got it a PSA 10. So that was, I don't know if that was my best, but that was my most recent, most fun purchase at a card show.
But Greeny, that was, I mean, yeah, everyone wants a Michael Jordan card. That's great. But you're kind of being humble there, because there was also 2 LeBron gold rookies.
Wow.
There were also 2 Yao Ming rookie autos, Carmelo Anthony. I mean,
yeah, there was some stuff, right? Sure, but
yeah,
he asked about a specific card, and that was the main card in the.
and that's
lot.
fair.
But yeah,
okay,
fine.
I wanted everyone to hear that, because
I need the Kevin O'Leary chain. Well, I can't afford it, number one. But how about that? Is that too much?
No, you don't. You don't need it. You're good. You're
know.
good. You don't need it.
I know.
Greeny, the best part was that collection came to you in a Ziploc bag.
It did.
Yeah. And that should be the follow-up question, Jeremy, if you do get a chance. Have you ever been at a show and brought cards that were incredibly high valued in a Ziploc bag? If so, comment below. And typically, Greeny, you know this, if you're seeing cards in a Ziploc bag at a show like that, there's going to be some heat in there. So don't shy away. There is going to be some heat in there. I know that the Ziploc bag gets an awful stigma when people are showing up to different, maybe smaller shows or a shop. But at a big show, a Ziploc bag is a go-to for some heat, which you had mentioned our show coming up in Phoenix in 2 weeks. The what I can tell you is it never seems to fail, Steve. You always have a decent collection walk in the door. And we had a collection just loaded with refractors and autos
Right.
and graded stuff today, which is fantastic. So that's one of the things that you can tell that this hobby is continuing to have a trajectory that is just ascending month after month. Is now the average stuff that may have went for a couple of bucks here and there are now starting to be $5 to $10 again, and you are starting to see the increase just in wax prices. And Steve, Top's finest wax. Can we get to that?
We can. I mean, listen, that's on the heels of Topps Chrome, Topps Midnight, and now Finest. I'm assuming basketball is where we're going. Yeah, it's crazy, right?
Steve, I know that right now the market is about $1,000 a box for Topps Chrome basketball. And typically it's like an 8-box case. And I believe it's 6 packs per box for $1,000. The second wave kind of went out to shops from Topps, and the cost is double the pre-order. So if that gives you any idea where this product's heading, it is 100%, and this is not fodder. It is going to the moon. And this is even after the fact that, and I know there was a kind of a hiccup that did come out recently. I believe it was the Finishers insert set, the Cooper Flag 101. Did you see that? It was in a pack, but it was missing the back of the card.
The back of the 101?
It was missing the back of the 101. It was just the front that looked like a sticker. But I mean, the stuff continues to just soar, which then, I mean, the trickle down effect, which it should just come naturally and everyone should know, is the singles for this product, because the boxes are so expensive. Even if you do not get a great box, or if you're looking for singles or you come across them, these will have great value just because the overall price of the product. So if you're able to get your hand on some singles or commons, do so.
You know, I don't know much about the Finest yet because I haven't actually touched it or seen it, but I've had my share of the Chrome and the Midnight version, and I have some friends that do some breaks and stuff, and I can tell you the grading is very difficult on Chrome and Midnight. So I don't know how the Finest will be, but I do know that it's been few and far between in getting high grades on Midnight and Chrome stuff. So I don't know what that says for how Topps are making their cards, but you're telling me they missed a back on a 101. I got to do some quality control over there at Topps.
Well, is it that, Steve, or are we back to maybe an 8 really is a raw card? I mean, maybe a 9 does start to garner a little bit more value. I know personally, and this is no slight to you, but I have watched your reveals lately, Steve, and I know on those older cards, they are tough grades, but it even seems like to a point you're getting hammered on some of this stuff. And you have great guys that you submit them through. So I know, because I've seen like your Jordan that came out of 10, but some of these cards, they are difficult, and the more designs on there, maybe that will kind of lead to greater struggling.
Sure. And some of the cards that I've gotten back, they've been sitting in boxes for 30, 40 years, and they've been, banged around a little bit. So those are a little bit different. When you're getting a card fresh out of a Topps Midnight pack, and I'm not suggesting they should all be 10s by any stretch, but it's hard. It's hard to get 10s on new Chrome and new Midnight stuff. So
it is hard, Steve, but is it maybe the person on the other end? Like maybe they're not allowing tolerance in certain products?
It's possible. I mean, listen, there's a whole bunch, but if that were the case, there would still be a good population of 10s from the other people that know how to handle the cards, and there's just not.
I get that, but we also don't want to have that oversaturation piece too. So it is kind of
Sure.
nice that they are
Yeah.
kind of keeping that down, because keep in mind the Don Russ Drake May, I believe downtown has almost 500 PSA 10s.
Those are case hits, right?
Correct.
Got
Which also leads me to the latest thing in hobby news here. I don't know if you've seen the Don Russ. It's almost like a specialty type box, but it has a retail green, and they have uptowns in there, and people were confused by this because in one corner they have the rookies, and in the other corner they have the RC logo. And so some people thought maybe this was card art, some maybe they were fake, but it appears to be real, and it appears that the print run on these boxes lends to them being 250 or less total uptowns in those actual in the product. So this is also an uptown that's going to be it's horizontal and not vertical.
Okay. Yeah. Tough.
They're pulling
right?
out all the stops, Steve. I
They
mean,
are. They are.
we're counting down. I mean, we're real close. Matthew Golden helped us by giving us that sneak peek about 10 days back. So
He did.
it's nice that we're able to see that Topps Chrome football's coming. But what does that hold for people that are holding on to 2025 Panini product? I don't know. I really don't know.
I don't either. What about let's switch gears for a minute and talk about the Patrick Mahomes $20,000 boxes. Have you seen any of these things? I saw. Listen, I've only seen one rip, so I can't really say. But the first auto that the guy got was a college uniform.
Yeah, I think that's one per box.
Wow.
I think they have one in his Texas Tech per box, but I think there's a total of 5 autos per box of Mahomes.
I think it's three. Well, again, I don't know. It could be 3 to 5, but
so
there's a bunch of diamonds.
There's
There's
3
three
levels
layers.
to the
Yeah.
box.
The one I saw, the guy only got 3 autos.
I saw a box where a guy got 6 autos in it.
Okay, so
and there
then
were
that's
2
fluctuating.
buybacks on that. Yeah.
Oh,
So I don't know. I've never been an in-person or a buyback auto guy. So that would be a struggle for me to spend that kind of money on one of those products.
that's an
I like
awful
the
lot.
pack.
Like, and Mahomes is terrific, and he's going to go down. But like, I mean, you're talking about an auto numbered to 20, right? Like, how do you get
definitely-
$20,000?
It's as much as we want to say it's a breaker product. It has to be.
Well, no, I understand that it has to be, but what are we breaking for? I mean,
you're guaranteed a
auto,
Mahomes
right,
card.
right? Well, sure. You're hoping to get a 101. There's got to be a logo man in there. Not logo
But it's
man,
no
but
different
the NFL
than
shield.
they did the Caitlin Clark product.
Those weren't 20,000. I mean, maybe they
No.
started in the Dutch. They might have. They might have done that, but yeah.
But Steve, if she would have won back-to-back WNBA championships, maybe it would have been.
Maybe.
Who's
Maybe.
to say?
Right. The
It's
guy
a
with the
crazy
money.
product.
He's the one to say, or she.
At an event card show, this would be people digging through boxes, dollar boxes. We've talking about the Kevin O'Leary card, talking about, the mid cards are just exploding. Are people coming into your shop and just collecting for the sake of collecting? Are they buying, are there affordable price points where people can get in and are they interested?
Absolutely. I mean, just to go back to the collection we bought today, the guy was like, I feel like I might be getting shortchanged. And I walked him over and showed the price. He's like, no, you're actually really on. Like, that's what you guys are selling this stuff for in the shop. So there is definitely affordable price points. And you really do have to kind of put the work in, because Chris and myself here at the shop, like, we build quarter boxes and people love them. They rip through them. There's great value. We put little nuggets in there that you could get. But people still like that kind of stuff. They still are. They're on that hunt for the next big card. Excuse me. But what I can tell you is what is slowing down, that's kind of sad, is the amount of youngsters that want to dig. They just want, I want this one. I want that big name card. I want that player. I want an auto. They don't really want to search through. So that's kind of been a struggle lately, is you don't see the youngsters really trying to collect. They're going at what's the most valuable. I want that.
Very good, Joe. Appreciate you joining us as you do week over week. Let everybody know where they can find you in person and on the interwebs.
Well, you can find me at Phoenix Sports Cards. That is on 59th and Thunderbird in Glendale, Arizona. We're here Tuesday through Sunday. And then I have some breaking news for you. So a little breaking news.
All right.
Starting next week at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, or excuse me, noon Eastern Standard Time, there will be a new show on Sports Cards Nonsense Network. It will be the Sports Card Confessions, hosted by yours truly, and it'll be a one-man show for right now, and we kick off this next Monday.
Very good.
Well,
Sports Cards
congratulations.
Confessions,
Yeah.
10 a.m.
Yeah,
Check your
Okay.
local listing.
absolutely. Thank you, guys.
Enjoy.
All right, Joe.
See you
have a good
then.
week.
Bye.
There you go, Greeny. Breaking news, breaking hobby news,
Breaking news.
as we do
Yeah.
every week. So,
Fantastic. He deserves his own show,
Joe's great.
as he confessed.
He's great. He could play it straight, or he could make you laugh,
Mhm.
and
That's right.
that's what else can you ask for in a personality? So, speaking of personalities, make sure if you want to turn your cards into cash, talk to the personalities over at Sport Card Auctions, Dave Cook and his team. They've been doing this for over 15 years, professional authentication and services. They will take care of everything for you. All you have to do is ship your cards to them. They will list it. They will take care of the photography. They will take care of the shipping. And with a 99% satisfaction rate from customers, it's the trusted choice for thousands of collectors, whether it's your vintage legends or modern hits. Maximize your revenue with the auction services at Sport Card Auctions. So get over there at sportcardauctions.com to learn more. And no better testimonial than you, Greeny, who actually you use the service yourself.
That's right. I do. And I'd like to speak to that 1%, Jeremy. Give him a No, he does a great job. He really does. And it's 100% in my book. So I use them. I send my cards there, and I get paid fast. And that's what I like.
All right, Greeny, lots of card shows going on around the country, including the Philly show, but time for Card Show Live.
Welcome on to the beginning of March Card Show Live, where we're going to take you around the country and go over some of the card shows that we think that you might want to hit this weekend. The first stop is going to be in Mississippi, Tupelo, Mississippi, to be exact. The Magnolia Sports Card Show with 40 tables, but a good 40 tables. And, you know, it's kind of like our Kirtland show here. It's a family-friendly show. Scott Glasgow puts it on, and that's going to be Saturday, March the 7th, 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Tupelo, Mississippi, building 4 there. I don't know what order they're in, but look for the building 4 and check out the 40 tables there in Tupelo, Mississippi. From there, Murray, Kentucky. Colby Schroeder runs a show there at the Curris Center. And I actually reached out to him and wanted to know a little bit about this show. He told me that it started out real small, 30 tables, and has now grown to over 100 in really over a year's time. About 70% Pokemon or 70% sports, 30% Pokemon. But the Pokemon vendors do very well there. And Murray has actually been, get this, selected nationally as the friendliest town in America. So what a better place to go do a show than in Murray, Kentucky, and see Colby Schroeder and the rest of their gang. That will be from 9:30 to 4 o'clock. From there, Scottsboro Sports Cards and Memorabilia Show is in Alabama. 150 tables this Saturday. Vendor tables are sold out. They've been running this show for a while at the Goose Pond Civic Center. What a name. That is in Scottsboro, Alabama. 150 tables, Saturday, March the 7th. From there, again, one of our favorite shows. We try to talk about this one as much as possible. Haley and Ben Williams in South Bend run the American Legion. Small but mighty show. I've been there. Terrific dealers, terrific customers that come in. I have bought a lot of stuff in that room. So make sure you check that out in South Bend, which is the home of the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. And while you're there, very close there is Shipshewana, and a show that we're going to attend this weekend, the Shipshewana Card Fest by Brad Beeman, who's been on our show a number of times. They've grown this show to 500 tables, and pretty amazing. And they get vendors all over the country into little small town Shipshewana, Indiana. And part of it, what's really awesome, number one are the pretzels, but number two is the kids scavenger. We've had them out to do the Broadview Heights show before, but we wanted to talk to Courtney and talk a little bit about what goes into the kids scavenger hunt, why it's so popular, and just another thing that's offered in the Shipshewana Card Fest. So with that, we'll bring Courtney in and we'll talk a little bit of kids scavenger hunt and collectibles.
Hey, everyone.
Hey, how are you? Thanks for joining us.
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
I know. So tell us, how did you get started really in cards before we really dive into the Shipshewana Card Fest? Tell us a little bit about Reckless Cards.
Okay, well, I grew up collecting cards my whole life. Jeremy also collected cards. Jeremy's my husband. And we kind of continued that on with our kids and our family. I started collecting Chicago Bears because that was my favorite team. I actually still have the first card I ever pulled out of a pack that I kept, which was a Mike Singletary card because I loved the Bears, obviously. And then, we just kind of have grown from there. I personally collect cards of people who are true crime. That is something that's my passion, and as a family, we collect Bulls cards. Obviously, a lot of people know we collect Patrick Williams pretty heavily. My favorite card that I ever got at a show was we picked up a Michael Jordan autograph also. So that was very cool. And it's kind of just, we still collect. We've been a little slower on social media. We used to be on Instagram all the time, lives. We had a couple shows. I had a podcast for my husband. Jeremy calls them my murder cards, but I collect they're not all murder cards. Some of them are like this. Like I have this guy. He's sitting. I'm in my office. He was a jewelry. He did a jewelry heist. So, and he also played. He played baseball professionally for Minneapolis. So, it's just it's kind of fun. It's interesting. The stories are cool, and that's how I got started in it, I guess.
Courtney, on this show, you should know we have a 3 Jeremy limit. So we're at our limit tonight. We've got Jeremy Guy coming up. We've got your husband and myself. So we're okay tonight. But we can't let any more Jeremys in.
Jeremy is a good name. I've never met a Jeremy I didn't like. So
fair enough.
Here we go. Fair enough. So being from Michigan, how did you end up in Shipshewana, Indiana? Give us a story on that.
So it's actually a really funny story. My daughter wasn't super into collecting like my son was. So we started making TikToks and she thought it was super fun. And Jeremy was like, we were talking about potentially setting up at a show. Like I said, we've collected our whole life, but we had never set up at a show before. And he was like, hey, Shipshewana. He's like, I saw an advertisement for this. He's like, it's, it was small, but it's getting bigger. And he's like, it looks like there might be space. So I reached out to Brad and I'm like, hey, I know that you guys are like, whatever. I'm like, is there any way, that you could fit us in? And he's like, yeah, he's like, I got one spot left I could put you. And it was like a really good spot. I don't think he thought it was going to be, but I loved it. And we stayed there the whole time they were in the barn, and it was great. But we made a silly video for that we were going to the show, and everybody liked it. So then now every time we go to the show, we make another stupid video. and like it was so much fun, and the kids had such a good time at the show. And they were spoiled because my kids, the first card show they ever went to was the National, and then they went to Shipshewana. So they had this very not realistic idea of what a card show was like, because neither of those shows are like typical card shows.
And from there, you started a scavenger hunt with kids,
Yes.
which has turned into really one of the biggest events. I know the show is the show, but this scavenger hunt really brings a lot of kids.
I actually like to say, and I think it's true, that it's the biggest like non-sponsored kids event that the hobby does. I don't know another one that's bigger. Like that isn't funded by like Tops or Fanatics or, someone. This is just the community coming together and making it what it is. And it is, oh, there's my kids. That is like, it's huge. We do 400 packs typically. And, these kids, we know them all. I recognize them. They come up with their prizes that they won the year before. I had a little boy. He knows that we collect the new rookie every year for the bowls. And so he came up to me one year with he had a Kobe White card. It was a prism, and he was super excited about it. And it was just it was so sweet. There's been so many times where I've seen these children just act genuinely, we started it with the idea of making an event for kids that they would enjoy, but also kind of teaching these kids how to be the kind of collectors that we want to see grow in the hobby someday. Thoughtful, considerate, kind. We always start the scavenger hunt by telling all the kids hey, make sure that you're not interrupting a deal. Make sure you're not putting your cases on the dealer's cases. Make sure you wait your turn. Make sure you're polite. Make sure you say thank you to all the vendors that are doing this for us. Because sometimes, you have to help teach the next generation about card show etiquette and what is and is not acceptable at a show. And I think having something that they do every single show where they know the rules, they know how they're supposed to behave, that really instills in them that the values that we all see, and then they rip their packs or they get their cards and then they sit and they trade and they're so excited about it. And it's so much fun to watch.
Really terrific stuff, Courtney. Shipshewana is an enormous show. It's 500 tables, lots of kids doing the scavenger hunt. It can be overwhelming for adults. So what advice do you have for people that may be coming in for their first show or first couple of shows? How can they navigate the scavenger hunt, and what advice would you give them to get in on it?
So we've worked really hard over the last several years to make it less overwhelming. As it's grown bigger, Brad has given the kids area its own section. When we first started, we would be inundated with kids waiting because, we used to start it from the second the show started until it ended. But it got so big that I just couldn't. It was overwhelming for not only the kids and people there, but for myself. So we, it's 10 to 1 or whatever. I don't know what the hours are. They change depending on, because the show's hours sometimes change. So it's always about an hour to after the show starts to 1 o'clock. So you definitely want to be there. I always say be there in the morning, because you never want to it's while supplies last. So, you don't want your kid to miss out on it. But they have big stop signs on the floor, giant ones at each of the spots where you're going to stop. So even the smallest kids can do the scavenger hunt. My girls are 7 and 8, and last year they were 6 and 7, and they did the scavenger hunt all by themselves. So there's stop signs right there. That is the stop signs that are going to be on the floor. That was perfect timing. They put those out so you can find them. All the vendors, they're super willing to help. They all have signs up for the most part. So their logo is on the card that you're holding in your hand, and then they have their logos up on their booths. So we have done everything we can to make it easier for the kids to be able to find who they're looking for. But part of the fun of a scavenger hunt is if it's too easy, then it's it's not really as much fun. So
Fantastic stuff, Courtney. We really appreciate it. We appreciate everything that you do with this. We can't wait to be in Shipshewana. I know that you'll be busy, but the kids scavenger hunt lives on, and hopefully we can bring that to some of our shows here eventually as well. And again, we appreciate it. Thank you very much for talking to us and letting us know.
thank you. Appreciate you
All
guys.
right.
Thanks, Courtney.
We'll see you soon.
Bye.
Bye. Yeah, that's really awesome.
Our thanks
to
to-
see.
Yeah, thanks to Courtney, Reckline, and Reckless Cards for joining us. Really awesome stuff, impacting the future of the hobby and building community. That's really what it's all about fundamentally. So, speaking of building community, we're going to segue into MAC-related content, the Mid-American Conference. And Greeny, a couple of quick notes. Tomorrow night, Greeny Sports Cards is part of the action, the MACtion. They're giving away a Ryan Gensler card presented by the Wentz Financial Group. Any of the attendees to the women's game against UMass tomorrow night will get a trading card, part of the team series, of which has been given away earlier this year and throughout. So very cool. Our thanks to the University of Akron for their commitment, and the Wentz Financial Group for their commitment to provide these cards through Greeny Sports Cards.
Yeah, cool stuff. We really appreciate their partnership.
And then other partnership too, Cleveland Crunch. Certainly, we're out this weekend at Broadview Heights. It's Fan Appreciation Weekend, March 14th and 15th. On the 14th, the Crunch are going to be giving away Greeny Sports Cards, team cards for fans there as well. So continuing to grow that piece, the custom card piece, and we're going to get into some action right now. Greeny Sports Card.
Get ready for MACtion like never before. The 2026 Mid-American Conference Basketball Tournament presented by Credit Union One returns to Rocket Arena March 11th through the 14th. Every shot, every steal, every buzzer beater, it all comes down to this. The best of the MAC men's and women's teams battle for glory, pride, and a ticket to the big dance. Feel the intensity, hear the roar. MAC Tournament Basketball. Be there. Tickets on sale now at rocketarena.com.
Our next guest is one of the most recognizable voices behind MACtion. Jeremy Guy is the Associate Commissioner for Communications at the Mid-American Conference, where he oversees the league's storytelling, media strategy, and brand identity. He's also the host of the MAC's official podcast, Call to MACtion, giving fans inside access to the people, programs, and moments that define the conference. It is our pleasure to welcome back Jeremy Guy, and we'll talk a little bit of collectibles tonight, as well as the MAC tournament coming up this week.
I don't think we heard you. Uh-oh. We'll try. Communications director.
Yeah, it's par for the course. The breadsmith's son has no food, and the cobbler's son has no shoes.
Well, I can't hear him. I don't know if you can hear him. Oh, mute, unmute. No.
How about now?
Gotcha.
Yes.
All right.
Now we're
All
here.
right.
Fantastic.
All right. Sorry about that. Look at me.
No,
I've
it's
been
good.
waiting here to talk to you guys, and I can't even. I screw up the open.
Nah, that's great. We
got a lot on your plate this week, so it's understandable.
We had posed a question earlier about card shows and favorite pickups, and I know you're busy and you're not able to get to a lot of card shows, but I know you and your son rip packs. You hit some card shops. What's one of the cool things that you guys have hit lately?
I think it's all about for us. It's been great. Just seeing my son get in the hobby. And every holiday that comes by, and that passes, or his birthday or anything, it's now about cards. And I'll give a plug to the local shop, Over the Fence, which I'm sure you guys know, in Eastlake. And we go up there, and he's big into football. The football, baseball, and basketball cards. and just collecting, and I'm trying to teach him to collect, his favorite players. So, he has a Bijan Robinson signed, or 10 Gem Mint 10. He's got a Justin Jefferson auto. Out of a pack, we got Jackson Dart, disco, white disco, and just like, I'll tell you this, he watches way too many YouTube videos about opening packs, because he thinks that any pack that we're going to get, he's going to strike, one of these downtowns or anything else. And I'm like, buddy, these packs that these guys are opening that you're watching on YouTube are a lot more than what I'm buying you. But that
it's
being
still
said,
the thrill. That's
yeah,
right.
yeah.
It's
That being
still the
said,
thrill, it's the hunt.
Yeah, it's teaching him, look for your favorite players. I think last year, he got Jose Ramirez, like, I think it was called like a home field advantage card, and that's one of his favorite baseball players. And going to shows and getting Donovan Mitchell's and Evan, Cleveland guys, and then teaching him some of, my favorite players, right? And giving him and handing down some of my Michael Jordan cards that I had, or Ken Griffey Jr. cards, who was my favorite person to collect. And so, yeah, and LeBron, I have LeBron's first rookie. So just being able to have those, hand them down. And now we've gotten into, if he gets a card that he might not know the guy, like teaching him about just eBay, that you can maybe make some money off these. And it just, it's nothing crazy, but it's been fun, and seeing him, and he's getting really into it.
And now with the NIL, there's a whole bunch of cards for the collegiate athletes, and Bowman U University for basketball and for football, and there's players in the MAC that have cards, and I mean, we can go all the way back to the Jack Lamberts and the Mike Schmitz, but there's even players now that are getting cards in the MAC schools, and I mean, it's really something different now.
Yeah, no doubt. And even, I was at the college football national championship game, and, I know Topps does the Topps Now program, and you're able to buy off the site. So I was at the game. So, that was one thing that, even though I was at the game, getting a Mendoza, like, art card, just stuff like that, where you're able to go to an event, get a card, and that's part of, like, you being there. Right. So that's really cool. And I didn't even say that about getting packs, not even about those big hits, but I've been able to teach my son a little bit about the players that, I've worked with, or, they get a Max Crosby, or gosh, we've gotten some baseball cards of Eric Lauer, who, is great at pitcher at Kent State, or McKinstry, or any guy that's been coming through the MAC. I'm able to say, well, this guy, Quinyon Mitchell, anyone, and if he gets him in a pack, it's fun to say, this guy played in the MAC, and this guy played in the conference. So that's been a fun way as well to go through these cards and show them a little bit about what I do through the student athletes that I've gotten to work with.
Courtney talked earlier about doing things the right way through their scavenger hunt. Overheard some conversation this weekend at the Broadview Heights show, and something you said struck me that we don't talk about enough, is that how impactful and educational the hobby can really be, and the opportunity to teach kids life skills and business skills. They're actually, when you go out to shows or you're online, you're negotiating, you're trading, you're evaluating product, goods, and services. You're forced to communicate with people and negotiate. But you're also learning math and all the stats and information. It's pretty remarkable. I appreciate you sharing that, Jeremy, about how your son is taken to the hobby.
Yeah, and it's all the stuff that you named, and also, supply and demand. Hey, well, this guy's not worth this because of that, and so he may not realize it now, but it is a good way to show someone his age. He's 8 years old, so someone his age, like, even though he doesn't know exactly what he's learning, he's learning it, and that's really cool, and a part that I really enjoy. That he was so proud. Now he gets a card and he takes his own iPad out and he's like taking a picture of it, and he's got like eBay on there to see what the price is, and that's just fun. That's another fun part of it. So yeah.
It is. Like, Bowman U cards, he can now watch. He can come to the MAC tournament next week. He can watch some of these players, and maybe they'll have cards, and this will resonate with him. Maybe somebody from Kent or somebody from the undefeated Miami team will make it to the next level, or they'll have a card, and he can say that he was there watching these guys play.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, one great example of that I didn't even mention before, with me being a Bowling Green grad and with Harold Fannin playing right here in Cleveland, he knows Harold Fannin. He knows Harold Fannin on the field, and he knows when he gets a card, we're pumped about getting Harold Fannin cards. And I get jacked when I get a Harold Fannin card, because of just he's been a great fixture here in Cleveland in his rookie season. So yeah, it's cool at those events. I went on the other day after the USA men won hockey, and they Jack Hughes card and being able to get that card, with that smile and everything. That's like an iconic picture. Just to me, I find myself getting into the hobby as well, but through my son. So it's fun.
Yeah. Before we get into what's going to happen in the tournament this week and some of this stuff, one of my favorite collectibles is I have a MAC championship ring.
Oh, nice.
I won't say the player, but it's a Kent State.
Okay.
You guys probably won't know, but things like this that the players get become collected, and the jerseys that they wear, or the nets that get cut down. There are so many different collectibles that come from this tournament. Anything that you remember over the years that you've been doing it, that you're like, man, I wish I would have had something like this.
Oh, that's a great question. One thing that just sticks in my mind, and you show the Kent State ring, I was able to be a part of traveling with Kent State to the College World Series. And I don't know if they received anything, to be honest, but what they gave me, which I still have, that's really cool, is, a MAC team making the College World Series, which is one of the best events I've ever been to during my time at the MAC. The whole team signed this poster, I guess I'll just call it a hologram type poster with all the teams that made the College World Series, because I was with them every step of the way. So I have this signed poster, and then I also have a ball that was signed by the whole team. And I just think that's a really cool, piece of MAC history. A team that, again, doesn't make a Northern team, let alone a MAC team, doesn't make the College World Series. And, traveling with them, go to all the practice, going to Omaha, seeing them beat Florida there, and being kind of embedded with them at an event is something that I won't forget. And I have a collectible from that event, a pretty cool collectible that's a lot of people would be like, wow, how'd you get that? Tons of Kent fans like being part of that or watching that. And so that's definitely one at the top of my list.
Jeremy, transitioning to the MAC tournament this week, of course, the men's and women's tournament will take place at Rocket Arena. I mentioned earlier, a lot of eyes, all eyes on Cleveland this week. You've got an undefeated team in the conference going into the week. Has Miami University's run changed the dynamic for this week? Are you getting more requests? Is there more interest in seeing what happens? Because there's a lot of debate out there, whether they need to win outright to get into the tournament, or if there will be two teams from the MAC that get in if they happen to be upset this week.
Yeah, demand definitely there. There's a few things that I'll touch on. I'm glad you asked. Ticket sales we've already exceeded from last year, and a pretty decent chunk than what we've done last year. And we have 8 of our women's teams already locked into the tournament, although seeding still has to be determined. But we only have 6 of our 8 men's teams. So not even all the teams have been determined yet. And our ticket sales are through the roof. I know I'm getting personally more requests from people I know regarding tickets. We also have we've done for a number of years now, our block party, which is we do that on the Friday night, the semifinal games. And it's in the Lighthouse Champions Club at Rocket Arena. And it's a VIP experience. But this year we sold that event, our Friday event, out in 4 days. which is close to 400 tickets just for that section. So we talked internally. We said, hey, we should open this up on Saturday, and we have like 11 tickets left on Saturday night. So people are excited. It's not just Miami, of course. That's the story, probably the story in college basketball to date, this year. But we have a lot of other good basketball teams, as you guys know. And not just, their women's team in Miami only has one loss, and Ball State on the women's side has 2 losses coming off a title last year. And, Akron, Kent State on the men's side, we're going to have one heck of a tournament. And Miami, obviously, I think has driven a big chunk of excitement around the league. But it's MAC basketball. Anyone can win the thing. I'll say that any year, if we have an undefeated team or not. And it's just our brand, and it's really cool to see there be so much buzz around this year's tournament. So yeah, tickets and everything, our events are really jumping off, and I can't wait for next week.
Yeah, people travel from all the MAC schools to come to this, and it's terrific to see every year. We're homers here. We want to see Akron and Kent in the finals every year, and that's a big thing. But watching Miami, watching Central Michigan, and all the directionals, I mean, it is top to bottom. Anybody can win this tournament, and that goes for men and women every single year. That the whatever, I think 10 teams make it, right? That seed can win it.
8 teams on each side. Yep.
Yeah, and the 8 team can win it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No doubt. No doubt. That's why this is our 26th year in Cleveland this year, or at Rocket Arena. And it's outside work-wise, it's my 21st tournament, but I went as a student at Bowling Green, so I may have missed 1 or 2 of all 26 tournaments here in Cleveland. But it's one of the key events in the city every year, quite honestly. And I love seeing people come down on the Wednesday for the women's games or Thursday for the men's games and spend from 11 o'clock till 11 at night watching basketball. I remember doing that as a student when I was at BG. Love it then, I love it now. And don't know what games are going to bring what kind of excitement, twists, turns. That's what MACtion's all about. So again, next week should be a lot of fun. And even though we have some teams at the top of the standings, I mean, it's anyone's guess who could come out of this thing.
Jeremy, let everybody know where they can get those tickets and more information.
Yeah, so Rocket Arena box office and online at rocketarena.com is where you can get tickets. I will just plug, if I may, 2 other events. On Wednesday night, we have a Wednesday for Women event, which we've done leading up to the Final Four when we hosted the Women's Final Four, but that's in conjunction with our women's games on Wednesday. So that's a $30 ticket. You get to watch the games, drink tickets, appetizers. There's a panel for speakers, and this year's for active women and athletes. Obviously, as you guys know, women's basketball has been an upward trajectory and continues to do that. So that's an event that we really like doing. I talked about the block party as well. And then something that we actually just talked about today is called Ann's Pantry. And that's a community initiative in the name of our commissioner, John Steinbrecker's late wife, Ann Steinbrecker, who passed away a couple of years ago. But she had compassion for, helping others and a commitment to community service. And this is a food drive that we are going to have every night of the arena. So people can bring their canned goods. You get 10% off at Rally House down the street. And it's just a way to give back. And I want to also plug that because that's a big thing. We're working with the Hunger Network, and those goods will be picked up and we'll be able to give them back to, local Northeast Ohio families. So, a lot going on, talk about the tickets and everything, but there's some other ways that people can get involved. And truly, this is an event that gives back to the city of Cleveland.
Love it. Can't wait for next week. Jeremy, thank you again for joining us
Absolutely.
And talking a little bit of cards this week, and best of luck next week.
All right. Sounds good, guys. Appreciate you having me.
Thanks, Jeremy.
All right. Our pleasure. Our thanks to Jeremy Guy, Chief MACtion Officer for the MAC conference. Thanks to Joe Wismirski, our hobby insider. Thanks to Courtney Reckline from Reckless Cards for joining us. Thanks to Courtney on the board for doing her magic behind the scenes. Next week, Greeny, we've got V-Friends. Zach Owings is planning to join us to talk about V-Friends and Gary Vaynerchuk world. So looking forward to that. Lots going on. Cleveland Crunch commemoration weekend. Fan weekend, appreciation weekend on the 14th, and can't wait for the MAC tournament next week. So, Greeny, may the cards forever be in your favor.
Have a good night, everybody.